and many countries liberalizing unilaterally, and on the other hand, the Doha round being stuck and the WTO losing its centrality in the trading system. And we believe, first and foremost, the best thing that can be done is a speedy conclusion of the Doha round. But after that, we think there's need for structural reform in the World Trade Organization. There's a fundamental tension. The problem is trying to come up with a single agreement, a single undertaking for all countries. One size, we confess, doesn't fit all. There are some countries who are very concerned about preserving their policy space. On the other hand, there are other countries who are seeking deeper integration in a number of areas. And our proposal involves creating a more variable geometry for the WTO. Just as some countries in Europe have joined the euro, whereas others don't believe they're right for it, we think the WTO should accommodate a lot of different desires on the part of its members and not force all of them to sign on to the same agreements. We believe there should be a set of core agreements to which all should subscribe, but then others who wish to go further in areas that are legitimately connected to international trade should have the WTO as a forum in which they could do this. Some agreements could involve competition policy. Foreign direct investment is another area which is obviously of great interest to many countries, but not all. So our solution involves firstly negotiating a protocol which would describe the rules under which these would be created. And secondly, then, proceeding to negotiate these individual agreements. Now, obviously, in the WTO, if we're to get success, we have to have the buy-in from the nations, because ultimately the member countries are the ones who have to decide. But we believe that there are a large number of other actors who are very interested in these kinds of proposals. And so we would seek to mobilize those actors in putting their interests to the fore as they try to create a WTO which would achieve a much better balance between the needs of individual countries and the system. There's a great advantage in having this all done within a multilateral framework. So all would be at the table when these agreements are negotiated, even if all wouldn't join. So that's the advantage of having this take place in the multilateral context, as opposed to either never getting these implemented or having countries do this outside the aegis of the WTO. So our desire is to...
I wish we could capture that as the brand for this entire conversation. Anyway, please.
Well, thank you. Our desire is therefore to involve a large range of actors in setting forward their ideas. We want to constrain them to deal with issues that are genuinely trade-related, but we want to have a WTO that can play its legitimate role and achieve a much better balance between this need for economic integration. There's an overwhelming amount of evidence that there remain huge gains to be reaped from further integration. And on the other hand, there's also a lot of evidence that suggests that particularly for the least and developing countries, one size doesn't fit all. Thank you.